Yesterday in episode 19, I told you that I would come back after I fixed some stuff, and I think I have, and let me demonstrate it. Remember, we are working with DXY graphics language, first introduced by Amdek and then Roland in competition with Hewlett-Packard's graphics library for their plotters. I like it because it's simpler and we have software somebody else wrote, save us a lot of time. Maybe, we'll see. Okay, here's the source. Remember we set up a make file, so let's make it. Creates it. I've renumbered this thing to version 3. So this creates the DXY2PS. I removed the build on the HPGL. I have no interest in it whatsoever. Let me move this DXY2PS to my bin directory so that we can execute it from there. I was working with a bunch of plot files. Let me remove some stuff here. And these were all my test files. So what I do is when I work with software, if I know I'm going to modify something and I have a bunch of test files, I'm going to run them all again. So in run dxy.shell, I have dxy2ps operating on each one of the graphics files .dxy and then output the resulting plot or image to a file with a .ps postfix on it. Forgot to mention DXY2PS, its output goes to standard out normally. So you want to redirect it to a file because you won't be able to read it. You need to use a program like events to display it. So let's run the script, run dxy.shell, and now I have a bunch of PS files. I'm not going to look at them in the order that I did yesterday. Let's just simplify the process by doing a for loop in bash for I in star.ps. It says I'm going to go through and sequence through all the files that end with .ps. I want to do a loop, so I want to look at, using events, the file. $I is, like alpha.ps, then axis.ps, etc. I'm done. So when I hit return now, it'll start the loop and bring up the first file. First file here is, look at the title, the file name is in the center of this title bar here. Thumbnail view is on the left hand side, and then the image itself, I've got it set to, it's automatically goes to full page. We'll just do a fit page here. And remember, this is the one where I had this text string that I printed out at an angle of 0, 90, 180, and 270. So it's still functioning. I didn't break it. I fixed the axis. Told you I'd put the code in there to draw the axis. I drew 4 of them. There's the first one, second one, third one, fourth one. First 2 are for x-axis. This one has 10 segments of length, I think 30, whatever, just some arbitrary number does a tick mark, draws another segment, do that 10 times. This one I had a smaller increment, segment length, and a larger number of repeats, so it gives me a longer axis. One of the things that I did not do, and it's easy to fix, is I did not put a tick mark at the start. If I really want a tick mark at the start, what I could do is re-execute the axis call and displace it to this point, and then negate the segment length, make it a negative, and then it will go all the way to this end, and the last tick mark will wind up there. The reason I don't do the tick mark at the start is so that when you join two orthogonal axes, the X and the Y, you don't get an overhang, half a tick extension below the axis. It's not very aesthetic. So the axis is fixed. Next thing is the draw. This is just where I used the draw command and drew a rectangle. Next thing is the hatching, and I haven't completed it. I got the border, draws the border, but not the hatching. Just haven't got the incentive to do it. Take about an hour to write the code. I have to sit down and do the math. One of the things that I was impressed with, if you go to the YouTube videos and look at all the XY plotters, pin plotters, and the ones that fill in text and keep the fill material within the borders of the letter, that is not trivial. That is not trivial at all. How would you do it? Going on, here's the home. Remember, we drew the home, then we moved up, drew a circle, and then went back home. It turns out that there was a bug in the home routine because I didn't test it. You just assume that when, and it is true, when the program starts up, the pin is in what is assumed to be the home position. If it was a real plotter, wherever the plotter pin is, if it's in the middle of the bed or in one of the corners, it's the software assumes that since it doesn't have a camera or anything, it assumes that the pin is in the lower left-hand corner, wherever your origin is assumed to be, and draws from there. Then later, when you do a return to home, it goes to that same position. So I found a bug there, fixed it. Here's the lines, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. Didn't change that. Now, here's the mark. Remember the mark, the way the code comes from GitHub, used the font characters, placed the ones that you saw yesterday at each one of the points. And so I just sat down and inserted some little move and draw pin motions to reproduce or to create each one of these figures. And they're not exactly like the ones that are in the firmware for the Roland plotters. And it's not a big deal. And I only did 12. Didn't take but maybe 30 minutes to write all the code, get it working. And you can see here that I also added something else. One of the things in a real plotter is you can change the pins. When you change the pins, that's how you change the line width. And at the same time, you can also change the color. Well, DXY 2PS did not have any functionality built into it to do pen colors, and so I added it. I think it took 12 lines of code. I'll show it to you when I get ready to, I gotta do one more thing, but a couple more things and we'll be done with it. In the meantime, just trust me that I've got this in there in just a few lines of code. I'll show it to you in a minute. So there's the marks. So I got those going. This was to demonstrate the move from home to 300, 300, and I put a little plus sign there. I fixed the pen routine so it works properly, and I added the color. So now we can go, here's pen, and my pen numbers go from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I maintained the same width, but I changed the color. This is in RGB 100, so there's red, green 010, and then blue 001, and then magenta, which is red and blue combination. And I can do any combination from 0 to 1, floating point, any ratio. And one thing that I can do is if I set RGB values to 1, 1, 1, I will get a white line. And since I have a white background, I can draw invisible lines. And you say, well, where would you ever use that? Well, if you've got a program written and it draws the perfect figure, except that there's one line that's just messes up, destroys the effect of the entire image, you can go back, take the postscript, or in your code, change that line, that one line, to color white to the background, and it will disappear, as long as it's not on top of other lines. That's something I'll have to demonstrate. Remember, I did the 3 lines here to show that in PostScript, if you do lines at any angle, they are going to come out perfect. Let's go and maximize this to 400%, and it won't. It only lets me scale up to 195%, but that's good enough. You can see how smooth the edges of these lines are. There's no aliasing introduced by either the monitor or the graphics hardware or your eyes. Hopefully your eyes are working good. Let's go back to the regular size. Here's my print. The thing is here, I changed the position, put everything together. It was just, I was trying to do one thing, and that was to see if I could change the color of the text. Because we're using the fonts that are embedded in the system for PostScript, you cannot color the text. So I am going to write a routine, a function, that will take as an input a character and then generate that character from line movements. All I need is the 2 commands, move and draw. And I can draw any of the letters, upper and lowercase, and any of the special characters. I just have to design the font, and I will do that. It will probably take me the better part of a day. So this is October the 28th. It's close to the end of the month. We're close to the end of the year. So I've got 4 days until the first of the month. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's 9 p.m. local. So give me 4 days and let me make the additions. And I will come up with a new character set. And we'll be able to see. I don't care for this character set because here's size 3 and then I did a size 15 and it changed the weight, made it bold. the aspect ratio, the width to height changes. Just irritating or not desirable. Now, for graphics, it's just fine. If you just want to do something to do a quick display of data, show it to your kids, other people, it's just fine. But there are some occasions where you want something special. Of course, in those, you can go to LaTeX or GIMP, other software packages. But here we are experimenters, so we're going to do this. That's why we got an Orange Pi 5 Plus. And that's it. See how I'm doing on time. I should be pretty good. 16 minutes. One other thing. I'm going to, in this 4-day period, unless I get it done quicker, I'm going to write a routine first to generate just simple graphics and use that routine to develop my character set before I put it in to DXY to PS. I've gotten the software fixed and running, and I want to make sure that I do not destroy it and have to start over. One of the things is there's still, in the source code, there's still some stuff that has HPGL in the title of the file, and I want to eliminate all that. Also, there's the test files here for the HP stuff. Take that out. So that's the plan. Give me time, and I will be back. Hope you are enjoying the progress here, and hope that you can work with the code yourself and learn some stuff. I told you, I can show you here. Let's see. Where was, whoops, typo 101. Let me do a VIHP. No. DXY.com.c. I think that's the one. Color. Pen change, line size. Let's see here. Grep RGB star.c. Yeah, hplive.c. Their cross-hatching is not completed. There's the rectangle. RGB. Here's all I did to add color. What I do is you go here and get a pen value, and then if the pen value is less than 0, I'll set it to 0. The pen values can go up to 8, so I used anything greater than 8. I'm going to go and read in RGB values, and they're floating point numbers, and then all I'd have to do is print the RGB values and then the word command set RGB color. That's a PostScript command, and then do a stroke to get it to take effect, and it is in effect until I come back and change the color to back to black or whatever, or change it to another color. I could give you a demo here. Do I want to? Nope, I've used 20 minutes. Let's set a record here and be done with it. So thank you for your time, and I'll be back November the 1st. The weather's getting cooler. and I will have one graphics routine, which I will just have to sit down and design, and I want to generate the character set and demonstrate it. Maybe I'll write a little graphing routine, something, before I do the spiral graph, and then we'll be pretty much done with the DXY graphics language, except that I'll have some routines that I can use for other lectures. Once again, thank you for your time. Hope you learned something. Hope you get a chance to experiment with this on your system of choice.